All right. Well, I grew up in California.
My name is Andy. I have started. My name is Andy.
My name is Andy. You're gonna have to edit a lot of this.
Qual o tamanho do teu sonho? E qual tua desculpa de hoje? Quase que como premiado pela inocência, Andy Jerome embarcou na grande aventura de sua vida. Nunca havia pisado em um veleiro e achava que sair pelo mundo num barco de 20 pés era perfeitamente comum. Vimos o seu veleiro, o Wolfpack, pela primeira vez em Curaçao e nos chamou a atenção os adesivos de Jamaica e Haiti e nos perguntamos se ele teria vindo de tão longe navegando aquele barquinho. Não foi sem surpresa que numa manhã caminhando pela orla de Cartagena avistamos novamente o pequeno e charmoso doble proa, agora pintado de vermelho. Mas foi somente em nosso terceiro encontro, já no Panamá, que fomos conhecer o capitão desse barco. E a história dele você escuta a seguir.
My name is Andy. I grew up in California and I spent some time in the Army. Went back to California briefly before moving to Texas, where I started thinking about getting away from the normal everyday grind and wanted to see the world. And I had very limited means, so with what I had, I came up with a plan with another friend that wanted to have a little adventure to get a little 20-foot sailing boat and quickly learn how to sail and take off for a Caribbean adventure. Now, my friend and I had never sailed before, so getting a 20-foot boat was totally realistic in our minds, but to all the other sailors out there, a 20-foot boat is just crazy. So everybody that we've met along the way is just shocked every time we pull in anywhere, and they're like, dude, where did you come from? I wanted to get out and do something unique and different and challenging, and at first it was going to be kayaking and biking through Central and South America, but the logistics of that turned out to be unrealistic in getting through some countries or even getting the equipment to some countries. So the plan changed to getting a little sailboat because then we could just sail to wherever we wanted to, or so we thought, and then go inland from there and check out what we want to see, move on to the next country. We made the plan to get a sailboat and learn how to sail and do the whole sailing thing. The plan was to go from Texas around the Gulf across to Cuba, which we did that part, and then the plan was to go from Cuba down to Belize and hug the coast and come down this direction, then to go through the Panama Canal, get on the Pacific side, go down to the Galapagos, and then go back and down to Peru, and then get the boat trailered over the Andes. I know, right? Really crazy. Get the boat trailered over the Andes and launched into the feeding rivers that make up the start of the Amazon River, the Maranon and Ucayali, and take it all the way down through the Amazon to the other end. Obviously, now I know that was stupid. Even just going through the Panama Canal in a 20-foot boat, not so realistic and really expensive. Going to the Galapagos, totally unpractical. People don't even go there on their boats because it's so ridiculously expensive. So the plan quickly changed, met some people, decided to go from Cuba to Gran Canaria and then to Jamaica. You know, because when you're sailing, you quickly learn that you can only make plans so far ahead. And your plans are always going to change and adapt and become something different. So right now I think I'm going to work my way back up north and end up back in Texas. Who knows? I might do something totally completely different. But at that time, our plans changed to go from Cuba to Cayman Islands to Jamaica, and then we ended up keep going east to Haiti, Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico, where my buddy decided to go back to the States. He had enough adventuring, and he wanted to go home. So I solo sailed from Puerto Rico down to Bonaire, because at that point it was already June, and had been going east against the trade winds far enough. It was very difficult without an autopilot. So I solo sailed from Puerto Rico to Bonaire without an autopilot. But at that point, with the wind on your beam or coming straight at you, you could set the sails and use bungee cords and ropes, and you could get the boat to go pretty much straight without having to sit there and hold it all the time. Went to Bonaire, met up with some friends that I'd met in Haiti and Dominican previously, and then Bonaire to Curacao. So from Curacao, I had to plan how I'm going to get from Curacao to Cartagena, Colombia. And it turns out, as I learned once I got there, that it's the 5th worst crossing in the world. And I thought, oh, it's a lot of hype. I've done worse. I've gone this far. I could do it. But to be on the safe side, I better get somebody to sail with me just in case. Especially since the wind will be at my back. And when the wind's at your back, you can't really sail without an autopilot. So I took somebody on board, Roman, from the Czech Republic. He's been backpacking around for like 8 years. Total pro. He's been backpacking with other boats, crossed oceans. He sailed way more than me. So he knew what he was doing, and he was a huge help. He helped me go from Curacao to Cartagena, where we almost died along the way. And then he took off, and he's still in Colombia doing his adventures, going through there. And there's a reason it's the 5th worst crossing in the world. Some people go through and it's no problem. They don't hit any bad weather, don't hit any rough waves. But I've found along the way that I always have bad luck. So if anything bad's going to happen, it's going to happen to me. It was pretty smooth going for a while. We had the wind at our back. We were moving at a nice clip, and past Aruba, past the tip of Colombia. We are getting around that peninsula. We thought we were in the clear. We were about 50 nautical miles out from the coast. We couldn't see the coast at all. And out of the blue, the wind kicked up and the waves kicked up in the middle of the day. And without even an opportunity to get the mainsail down, we were in big gusts of wind with 30-foot waves. And at that point, it was too rough to take down the mainsail with the preventer on to keep us from pulling the sail back or dropping it or anything. So we had to ride down 30-foot waves with the mainsail up, plummeting into the water at the bottom of the waves, going halfway up the boat, popping back up just to hit another one coming at us. And the scariest moment in all of that was when it was first starting to kick up, the waves were starting to get rough. I yelled down to Roman, I'm like, Roman, you better wake up. It's starting to get rough here. You might need to start getting stuff ready. It's getting a little scary. So he starts packing the ditch bag and grabbing the life jackets or putting everything on, getting ready in case we need to bail out. And there was a moment when he's down there packing the bags and I'm steering with the tiller, and I look back and I think I'm looking at the horizon, and I'm like, what is that? And I realize I'm looking at a wall of water coming at us, and I look up and I see the top of the wave, and I'm just like, oh crap, it's higher than the mast. And I yell down at him, and I have that sinking feeling in my stomach, like, this is it, we're gonna die. I yell down to Roman, I'm like, Roman, hold on! And I see him look up and he sees the wall of water coming at us and his eyes get big. He's just like, oh! And we hit that and we ride to the very top of it and we just launch down it. And I'm looking at the navigation and I see it. At the time, I'm not really a big sailor. I'm new at this. And so I have everything set 2 miles per hour. And I see it says we're going 20 miles per hour down this wave. And that's when we plummet into the bottom. And they just kept coming. One wave after another. He got the bag packed. He gets in the back. And we're just sitting there riding the waves one after another. It was probably 30 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours of just terror and being ready to ditch out and hit the SOS button and hope that we could get rescued 50 miles out from shore, well outside Colombian waters. But sure enough, it ended up dying down enough that we were able to get the mainsail back in. We got it down, we got everything tied down. We got a sea anchor out, and that sea anchor started pulling us over the waves instead of letting us surf down the waves. So we got bunkered down after some waves came over and dumped tons of water in the boat, and the bilge pump was constantly just pumping water out. We got in and we rode it out for about 6 hours until it was calm enough that we felt safe getting outside the boat again and started getting the sails back up, and the wind died down, and we sat there for another 6 hours waiting for the wind to pick up. And that whole time we moved about 2 nautical miles in about 12 hours. So that really delayed the trip a bit, and we almost died, and it was really, really scary. But we made it, and we learned a lot, and we're the better for it.
O mar pode ser impiedoso, mas acho que até Netuno foi com a cara desse texano boa gente. Se o Andy saiu sem saber nada, não temos dúvidas de que hoje ele é um grande velejador. Foi aprendendo a duras penas com as dificuldades do caminho, é verdade. Mas não seriam desculpas que iriam separar este soldado do seu objetivo.
I continued from Cartagena, went through the islands down to the border of Colombia and Panama with some more friends. We kind of made a little fleet along the way. At one point we had 4 boats and we were cruising along together, and it was a lot of fun. And we went all the way up through all the San Blas Islands, even the ones that most people don't go to, not the touristy ones. And there's a reason for that, because they suck further down. You get further up in San Blas and it's really nice islands, and that's where all the tourists are. And got past the San Blas to where we are now. Linton, and I moved on to Shelter Bay, Colon area, Chagres River, and came back here after helping some friends get through the Panama Canal. And that's where I am now. But, you know, it's for me, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I might never go through the canal again. Even if I get another big boat, maybe I'll get it on the Pacific side, because I want to see the South Pacific, and that'll be easier. Since leaving, it's been approximately 5,000 nautical miles. It's Halman 20. It's a Canadian brand, doesn't exist anymore, 1979. It's a knockoff from a European boat called a Nordica, made for the North Sea. So it's a full keel, designed to be stable in rough water. But most of them are bigger than 20 feet, so they'd be more stable. It's about 6 feet wide, 20 feet long. The mast is about 35 feet off the water, so when I see a wave coming above the mast, you get a little worried. The boat only cost $3,500. I might have overpaid, I don't know. I'm not a sailor. I didn't know anything about sailing. It took a lot of fixing up. It wasn't in the greatest condition. So it took several months of fixing up before taking off on the trip. You know, I've had to pick up a lot along the way and learn a lot along the way. But relatively cheap compared to most people going out sailing in the Caribbean in a boat. So it's doable. You can do it on a really small budget. It doesn't go so fast. As I've learned, the bigger the boat, typically the faster you could go. So I struggle to keep up with people most of the time. I think my typical cruising speed is like 4.5, sometimes 5 knots on a good day. But I've gone from like Puerto Rico to Bonaire and I was going 7 knots most of the time, so you never know. Sometimes you could get going real good. It's not the most comfortable. It rolls a lot. You get wet a lot. Anything over 3-foot waves and they're splashing over the bow and you're getting the spray all over you. So even if you don't get drenched, you get spray and it dries, and more spray and it dries, and when you reach your destination you can just literally scrape the salt off of you. And then you have to jump in the ocean just to wash the salt off of you. I carry flexible jugs of water, you know, Coleman jugs you get at Walmart. Fill them up and they fit in tight spaces. I've got 8 of them. They're 5 gallons each, so 40 gallons. And I carry 3 5-gallon jerry cans of fuel. And that's enough to go pretty long ways with the little outboard motor that I have on there, because it doesn't have an inboard motor, it's just the outboard, and it's only 4 horsepower. So it's more when you have no other option and there's, you know, no wind and it's calm enough, you can use the motor and move along, go into the wind a little bit. But it's also my dinghy motor, so it's gotta last. You get used to it after a while. With 2 people in there, it's not so comfortable. The 2 people that have been in there with me sailing would know it's not the most comfortable thing. And I'm certainly gonna stay solo as long as I can, which I'm probably gonna take it the rest of the way back home solo, because I could just hop along the shore. Because there's a lot more room. I don't have to worry about disturbing somebody, or, you know, giving them privacy, or getting away from somebody because they're irritating the crap out of me, or them snoring in the middle of the night and I just want to punch them or yell at them, roll over. It's better for me. And I have an autopilot now that I picked up in Cartagena, thanks to Sven. Thank you, Sven. And it helps so much. It's the best thing ever on that boat. I could motor or sail and it keeps me going perfectly straight, working like a charm. The people I know, for the most part, are not sailors back home. My friends and family, they all see me leave on a 20-foot boat and it's perfectly fine to them. But now, you know, as I'm learning along the way, they're learning along the way, watching videos, reading the posts, and they're realizing that, you know, 20-foot boat out here is pretty wild. And certainly everywhere I go, every sailor looks and they're like, where did you come from? How did you get here on that tiny little boat? And you know, I meet people like you guys and get on my friends list, and so certainly all those people are like, wow, you're still going. Okay, great, awesome. You made it further than I thought you were gonna make it. Most people back home, I don't know if it's the same where you're from, but they think that they could never do something like this. They have all kinds of excuses. You know, I got this and that I got to take care of. Family, kids. There's so many people out there. Those are just excuses. Not like living in the normal American lifestyle. Just struggling to pay the bills and, you know, get the newest iPhone and go out to bars all the time. It's a different way of life, and it's much more stress-free. As scary as the moments are, it's so many moments that are worth it, that they outweigh all the moments that you want to go back home. It's worth doing. No matter what you have to do it, it's worth doing. I mean, as much as I've learned a lot about sailing from doing it on a small boat, and the challenge has been unique and one of a kind, I think I would tell past self to get a bigger boat. But then again, I never would have learned this much. Maybe wouldn't have gone as far. Who knows? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. It's been a worthwhile trip, though. I wouldn't trade it at this point for anything.
Quando gravamos essa entrevista, fazia apenas uma semana que tínhamos conhecido o Andy. Hoje, mais de um mês depois, seguimos navegando juntos. E como ele mesmo falou que poderia acontecer, ele está planejando uma coisa totalmente diferente. O Wolfpack está à venda, e não sei para onde os ventos vão levar essa figura rara. Mas vamos sempre nos lembrar dele como um cara que tomou as rédeas do seu destino, botou uma ideia na cabeça, correu atrás e realizou. E agora vai carregar na mochila mundo afora o orgulho da sua aventura à vela. Desejamos um 2019 cheio de motivação, perseverança e empenho, e que nenhuma desculpa seja maior que os seus sonhos.
It's from a killer rabbit. It really is. It's a rabbit.
That's cool.
I got it from the Kunas, and I thought it was a boar tusk. Like, no, it's a rabbit. Like, what kind of freaking rabbits do you have here? Apparently they're killer rabbits with giant teeth.
Wow.
No.
Rabbits doesn't have teeth like that.
Apparently these rabbits do.
Do they know English?
They're-
Like rabbit?
I asked another guy, and he said, yeah, that's from a rabbit.
Wow.
Like, apparently the rabbits here are enormous.
Holy shit.